Wow, what an afternoon at Portman Road, Stuart Watson. Ipswich Town 3, MK Dons 0. We'll whisper it quietly, Ipswich are top of the league, but more importantly, that was a really good performance, wasn't it? A team performance right across the board.
Yes, MK Dons reminded me a lot of Ipswich this time last year. A team very much in transition, lost a couple of big players in the summer, we know, with Darling and Twine leaving. I think they had a few injuries going into this one as well. They were disappointing. I think they look a shadow of the team that finished third last season, but take nothing away from Ipswich at all, because they looked the opposite of that. They were a well-oiled machine. They looked super fit in really hot conditions. They ran and they ran. They played with intensity. They pressed high, and MK Dons couldn't deal with it. They started on the front foot. Ipswich 2-0 up at half-time, deservedly so. And then what was really pleasing was the second half. We had no sort of second half wobble like Ipswich had at Forest Green last weekend. Got the third goal and overall a very comfortable victory.
The comfort was what was pleasing for me. They made it a good job for themselves with a goal after 4 minutes. We've seen Ipswich start fast in games. Wes Burns has spoken so much about him personally starting games fast, and they did just that. 4 minutes on the clock and he swept them ahead, and almost a bit of a taste of things to come, because Janoy Donasian made that goal with a drift past old man Dean Lewington, and a nice pullback for Burns to finish. But from that kind of period on, they just gave themselves a platform and they grew into it, and really comfortable, really enjoyable.
Yeah, Burns then had a hand in the second goal. His shot from outside the box was parried away, and Harness was quickest to the rebound. For a split second it looked like the defender was going to get there first, but he's managed to force the ball over the line. So I thought Wes Burns looked like the player of last season. Obviously we know he had a bit of a delayed start to pre-season, having been away with Wales. He's looking like he's getting back up to speed now. I thought Leif Davis took another big step in the right direction out on the left side for Ipswich. But you mentioned Dean Lewington looking very leaden-footed for that opening goal for Ipswich. MK Dons looked very exposed down that side, and it got to half-time and they changed their shape. They'd started with the back four. They switched to mirror Ipswich's system. They went to three at the back, and that changed the flow a little bit at the start of the second half. Ipswich's intensity dropped understandably. You're 2-0 up. It's scorching conditions here, but they just played the game and kept the ball. And I don't know what the possession was at the end of this game, but it seemed to be in the 60-70% mark throughout most of this game. Not many teams have that level of possession against MK Dons. So good performance today.
Can I run through some things that I like?
Please do.
Here's a list of things that I like.
Okay.
I like that, yes, MK Dons did switch to the same system as Ipswich, but they don't possess a player like Janoy Donasian to make that back three work in the way that did. See how deep he came from for that third goal? So deep. That's a proper defensive position. Surge, deep, chop back, cross. I like that. I like how we're not standing here talking about how incredible Sam Morsey was today, which from a lot of Ipswich's best wins, he has been. But I thought him and Lee Evans, they're a pair, they were supremely solid. They both pop up in so much more space than I'm used to seeing Ipswich midfielders have. And they find each other with pop little passes, and the Ipswich are away to play. I like Leif Davis, as you've mentioned. I thought he played really well today.
Mm-hmm.
He looked strong, athletic, got up and down, got into the box a few times. I liked that. And I'm going to stop because there might be some things that you like as well. I can keep going if you want. If you want more things that I liked, I can keep going.
I want to give a mention to Connor Chaplin. I thought all those players that we've mentioned, it's a team performance today. I talked about a well-oiled machine. They were some of their parts today. But I thought Connor Chaplin was, last season, we know he's a bundle of energy. We know he runs everywhere. It can be infectious, but sometimes it felt a little bit misplaced. And I think he admitted himself, despite the good goal tally he got in his debut season for Ipswich, he was still learning that more withdrawn inside forward role. And I think he's now showing that he's becoming part of that team unit, and he's channeling that energy in the right way. There were some lovely little dinked balls over the top of defenders or turning people in tight spots, and I thought he acted as a really good pivot point for Ipswich Town in that number 10 position today. But you could go through so many of them in that team today.
I'm sure we will at some point. I also like that Ipswich are top of the league. Kieran McKenna was asked about it. Connor Chaplin was asked about it. Kieran McKenna's face when he was asked about it was an absolute picture, isn't it? If you go on Stu's Twitter, probably on our website as well, if you had a look on there, his face when he was asked what it meant to be top of the league after 3 games was a picture, wasn't it?
We have to play this little game as journalists at this stage of the season. We've been here a couple of times before, of course, with Ipswich being top of the league after 3 or 4 games in the first couple of seasons after League One, and things have unravelled. But it feels different this time around. But we have to play this little dance with managers. What does it mean to be top? And then they have to say it doesn't mean anything. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and all the cliches came out from McKenna. I mean, I think as early as his second sentence of his summary today, he was talking about Burton on Tuesday night and a completely different challenge. Forest Green came up trying to play decent football on the deck. That plays into Ipswich's hands a little bit last week. Similar with MK Dons today. Burton, a different story, a team that really put the ball on top of you and just relentlessly stick the ball in your box and hope that you crack. So as good as today was, there was a couple of little moments in the first half. Dennis put a really good headed chance over the bar at 1-0. If that goes in, momentum can change. A couple of little sloppy moments at the back that, Wolfenden was a little bit loose at times that could have gone the other way. But overall, it's a really good day today. This is a result that will lay down a bit of a marker, and I think Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday, sitting in positions 1 and 2, will have a few people sort of sitting up and taking notice.
Yep. For the record, Connor Chaplin says he won't look at the league table until probably December, which seems quite late. But if he was to look at it tonight, he'd see Town top of the league heading to Burton. We'll leave it there.